my days, there were no blogs, thank God. We had to rely on newspapers. And newspapers and the other media, whether electronic or print, they can carry only so much information. But every day there are lots of information that would be useful to us, which, whether they are censored or not, the fact remains that the media today cannot carry all the news that may be useful to us. That is why the internet has become extremely important as a source of information and knowledge for all of us. Of course, now the internet comes in various languages, but still English is very important. So while we must be proud of our own language, we want it to become a world language, but the fact still remains that until we acquire the knowledge that will help develop our country, our language will not be looked up to, will not be learned, because it's not so useful for people. And in order to promote your language, you have to be successful. Your nation will have to be successful. You yourself must be successful. If you are successful, then people will want to know more about you, and they will learn your language. But if you are a failure, nobody will want to learn your language. You know, there are lots of so-called primitive people. They speak their own language, but who wants to learn their language? Because there is no benefit from that, because you cannot even trade with them, much less gain knowledge from them. So because we want our language to be highly respected, the important thing is to make a success of yourself, to make the nation more successful. And to make the nation more successful, you have to access the knowledge that is available today. And that knowledge is available to us in English. Whether we like it or not, we have to master this language so that we can have that knowledge that will help us grow and develop and become strong and become a factor in the affairs of this world. So learning English is not being unpatriotic. It is because you are patriotic. You want your people to be very highly respected, and people will not respect people who are lacking in knowledge, and on top of that, they are not successful. When I was made Minister of Education in those days, there were no such things as well, there were computers, of course, but how to use a computer was a problem. And modern computer, and I couldn't use it, and I asked somebody to help me, I couldn't either. But if I am today the Minister of Education, is that the question?
As a Prime Minister.
Huh?
As a Prime Minister.
Prime Minister? Well, there are lots of things that I would like to do if I become a Prime Minister again. I wouldn't say it because it might annoy a lot of people. So I will just concentrate on one thing. I will concentrate on education, because this is what enables people to be upwardly mobile. They can improve themselves. The son or the daughter of Robert Apple, for example, can become an engineer or become a highly educated person and improve himself. So the focus on education today is not too much on actually acquiring knowledge. There is this element of language nationalism. I think we should be nationalistic. We should all be nationalistic. But if you are nationalistic only in the way you can use your own language, it's not really being nationalistic. If you want to really be nationalistic, you would want your country, your people to be very advanced, to be very knowledgeable about things. And as I said just now, knowledge today comes in the English language, which is why I propose that we should learn science and math in English. Now, why science and math? Science and math are different from geography or history. In geography, the shape of England will remain like that for very long. So there is not much change. Glacier will look exactly like that. We will have the mountains not going to crumble just yet. But in science and math, knowledge changes almost every minute. Everybody is doing research today, and some of them come up with very radical results. And you have to gain access to the latest knowledge about science and math. It's changing all the time. Even debunking some of the old knowledge about science, and we say, well, this is no longer true. We have to accept this new approach or new knowledge that we gain about science and math, even in medicine. But this knowledge is not coming to us in our national language. I wish it can, but the fact remains that it's not coming to us in our national language. It's coming to us in the English language. And we need to translate. But it's not translating one single book. It is translating papers which are coming out every day of the year. There are hundreds of thousands, not hundreds, maybe thousands of papers, academic papers coming out every year. You cannot translate, you cannot find anybody who will spend his lifetime translating it for you. But if you learn English, then you gain access to whatever knowledge that is new, that you think is relevant to your future. That is why I had changed the teachings of science and math into English. If you look back, you know, the Arabs became Muslims and they were told to read. At the time when they were told to read, there was nothing about Islam to read. So they read whatever is available to them, and they studied the Greek philosophy, Greek science, etc. Now, how do they gain access to Greek philosophy? Surely it must be by learning the Greek language, or even the Chinese language, because that is the language of knowledge at that time. And of course, over the centuries, the Arabs became very learned. They built up a great civilization, Islamic civilization. They produced great scientists, great mathematicians, and they wrote books in Arabic. And when the Europeans realized that the Arab civilization was way ahead of them, they wanted to learn the way in which the Muslim civilization developed. And in order to do that, they realized they must gain the knowledge that is with the Arab. For that purpose, the Europeans learned Arabic to gain access to the libraries in Cordoba, in Baghdad, which are in Arabic. They learn Arabic, they learn to acquire the knowledge. It's not because they don't like their own language, but to acquire knowledge, they have to learn Arabic. And once they have mastered the knowledge, then of course they translated it into Latin in the first place, and then back into German or French or English. So we are at that stage where we need to learn the language of the knowledge that is coming to us. And that language is English. It's not being unpatriotic. You are more than patriotic because you want your own people to be able to have the knowledge that other people have. To be a language nationalist is easy. But if you can only speak Malay and nothing else, you know nothing else, you're not going to get anywhere.